Hello, friends. Welcome, everybody. In our morning section, we have discussed about life imprisonment. But today, we have started new series of law of evidence in India according to the prescribed syllabus of Savitribai Phule Pune University. I, Advocate Gajanan Funde, ex-assistant professor for law, commerce, and management, I am right now practicing in a Madnagar district court and a visiting faculty at Yashoda in Pune and MCD Pune. So, according to the syllabus of University of Pune, there are six most important topics. First of all, importance and significance of law of evidence. Thereafter, second point is applicability of law of evidence. Third one is role of law of evidence in civil and criminal proceedings. Number four, facts in issues and relevant facts. Number five, kind of evidence. Number six, proof, that is facts proved, not proved, and disapproved evidence. Thereafter, 7. Presumption. It consists of important concepts like shall presume, may presume, and finally, conclusive proof. So, according to unit number 1, as a part of introduction, let me insist that section 3 is the most important section in Indian Evidence Act, which defines evidence. The concept of evidence. Evidence means and includes all the statements which the court permits or requires to made before it by the witness in relation to the matters of facts under inquiry. Such statements are called as an oral evidence. It has become part of oral evidence. Now, documentary evidence, that is all documents including electronic records produced for the inspection of the court. Such documents are called as documentary evidence. So now, when you analyze the definition, there are two most important parts. First is oral evidence, and second is documentary evidence, which is under inspection of the court. Now you can simply understand the most important of the task of the court is inquiry, and the most important task of the police is investigation. Now there is one broad question which is being frequently asked for law students, that is importance and significance of law of evidence. When there is a broad question, we must have at least 10 points. Now I have tried my level best to make a research on this topic on importance and significance of law of evidence. But if you haven't subscribed, I will appeal you to please subscribe this channel, like and share. Means next all series of our Indian Evidence Act, all lectures, you will be accessible to that lectures. First of all, have a look at the introduction. The word evidence is derived from the Latin expression evidens evidere, which signifies the state of being evident, that is plain, apparent, and notorious. Friends, there is a very famous maxim in Hindi language that पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या और हाथ कंगनी को आरसी क्या. Means judges are working under the principle of fair trial. Each and every party shall be given an equal opportunity to prove their innocence. But if the evidence is strong, so that will make it very apparent and notorious. Law of evidence, which does not define or fix right or liabilities under the law, but only prescribes the modes by which rights or liabilities of parties concerned. Now there are a lot of examples. When a person is possessing a strong evidence, nobody can challenge him. He gets right in rem. For example, a person is having title certificate, clear title certificate. So no person in the world can claim ownership right against that person in entire world. It helps in proving and implementing substantive law. Mind will, it is a combination of procedural law as well as substantive law, but most probably the law of evidence is substantive law, a means Now the first importance is a means, that is an instrument. Evidence acts as an instrument through which existence or non-existence of the facts in issue could be proved or disproved in a criminal case. A very important thing. It is an instrument in the hands of the judges. Now, mind well, as I don't need to tell you, especially you are law students or most happening lawyers, that the court is working on the basis of evidence only. Your emotional speeches, your expressions doesn't matter for them. If you have evidence, then it is admittable. If it is relevant, then it is admissible. Otherwise, your comments, your statements are not accepted by the court. In criminal cases, it is a fundamental duty of investigating of police to collect relevant evidence from the various sources and submit in the form of charge sheet to the court for the trial. Now, in our next section, we are going to study trial under CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code. What is trial actually? Okay, but now this is challenging for investigation officer to investigate in all aspects because he is under obligation that a person is being produced before the court, before a magistrate, and now the evidences shall be produced before the court to prove that the accused person is a criminal. Already accused person is being protected by Article 22 of Indian Constitution. He is protected by doctrine of self-incrimination. He cannot give evidence against himself. So that is a prime duty of investigating officer to try his level best to investigate in all aspects. Generally, evidence is gathered in the form of statements of witness, documents and materials. This is known as the best evidence rule in the language of law. Now for law students, I have seen earlier question papers. There is a short note, explain best true evidence rule. Okay. Now, every trial court has to appreciate the evidence furnished by the prosecution and the defense on the touchstone of the rules of evidence to arrive at logical conclusion of the case in issue before the court. Now, appreciation of the evidence is a very important part which will be explained in our last lecture. Now, the burden of proof lies on the prosecution. It never shifts. Each and everything will have to be produced before the court by the prosecution. They will have to establish evidences before the court, and if the evidences are relevant, that relevant evidence becomes admissible and which is related with the facts in issue. Once it is proved, it becomes a proof, and that proof is called as an evidence. Okay. Now, without proof, there can be no case in a court of law, and without evidence, there can be no proof. Hence, evidence can be said to be sine qua non of the practice of law. Now, if there are no evidence, now friends, I am living in Ahmednagar. I have witnessed two important cases. One was Kopodi scandal, which was a very, unfortunately, I can't call it as a popular case. Please pardon me if I am doing that. It was a tragedy. So on the basis of a substantive evidences, on the basis of a very strong corroborative evidences, criminals were liable for the death penalty. But the same case occurred, the same incidents like occurred in Parner, that was Age's case. Court declared that due to lack of corroborative evidences, the benefits of lack of evidences shall be given to the accused person, and they were released on the basis of lack of corroborative evidence. Means if there are no evidences, then court can't do anything. Court is like helpless. So it is duty of prosecution to prove the proper evidences before the court. Now let's move to the topic, that is importance and significance of law evidence. I am going to discuss this topic right now, and in our next lecture I will come to the next point, that is the role of evidence in civil and criminal proceeding. Friends, according to the changed syllabus of Pune University, there can be broad question on these two topics. Mind well, you are supposed to prepare a table of a keywords of the importance of Indian Evidence Act, as I have tried my level best. So first, evidence is only one possible way by which the court can make an inference to render a decision. The definition of evidence explains that the evidence is the proof of any fact in issue. So without evidence, there will be no possibilities to prove any fact in issue or even to establish any fact in a case. So most important case before the court is that fact in issue. So they have issue. The issues are being framed by the court and the prosecutor is under obligation to produce not only evidences but corroborative evidences which are relevant, admissible in the court of law. So first keyword you can draw that it is only possible way. You can't make a speech like a good speaker. You can't make your different expressions. You can't insist, Your Lordship, I am telling you true. Believe me, I can't lie. I swear in the name of God. This type of nonsense is not accepted in the court. Of course, there is only one opportunity given to the person for the argument. Otherwise, a person, though he is a prosecutor or he is a defense lawyer, cannot make such type of statements. It helps the court to ascertain the truth and to avoid the confusion in the minds of the judges, which may result from the admission of evidence in excess. The process of evidencing any fact or a proof should be governed by well-established law in order to achieve a speedy and a fair justice. Now everybody is demanding that I will criticize this point. Right to speedy trial is a fundamental right, but it is not so. Honorable Judiciary has plainly rejected this thing that we can't be in hurry. We can't be in hurry. Please pardon us. We will have to go through thorough scrutiny. We will have to issue the notice. We will have to call the witnesses. We will have to take their statements. Then we will have to come on a proper conclusion applying our logic. And it is a game of logic. It is not a game of emotions. Second point, it helps in preventing indiscipline in the admission of the evidence by enacting a correct and uniform rule of practice. It helps the court in preventing wastage of time on irrelevant issues. First thing, mind well, if any evidence is relevant, only and only that can be admissible in the court. If it is not relevant, then it will not be admissible in the court. That's why it helps in preventing indiscipline in the admission of evidence by enacting a correct and uniform rule of practice. Now, if I can dare to say, we must be very grateful to the Britishers, as Indian Penal Code was called as a golden piece of legislation, and this is another golden piece of legislation. Till the date we are following, Indian Evidence Act is the most comprehensive code for practicing the rules of evidence. Third thing, it is the law of evidence is a lex fori. Law students, please mind well, there is a frequent short note on this word lex fori. It may be for 7 marks or for 10 marks, there is a short note now which govern the court to decide whether a writer is competent or not, whether a certain fact required to be proved in writing or not, whether a certain evidence proves the facts or not. That is to be determined by the law of the country where the question arises, whether the remedy is sought to be enforced and whether the court enforce it. Mind well, different countries have their different judicial system, their different laws. We have acquisitorial system, means we are working under the presumption that each and every accused person is innocent unless and until his guilt is proved. Thereafter, where a judge is called upon to pronounce upon the rights and liabilities of the party arising out of facts, certain information about the facts involved must be submitted to him, which will create a belief in his mind so as to what the real facts are. Now the judges don't have any idea that what is the dispute, what is the matter. When they will go through the documents, they can come on conclusion. For example, there is a issue or there is a dispute regarding specific relief act, regarding titleship or ownership of any particular property, and if any person produce title certificate, then it becomes quite clear. Without any hesitation, judges will give the decision on from to a person possessing title certificate. Fact must be proved in the first instance, and then only matters is a reap for application of relevant laws. The means by which facts are governed by the law of evidence. Means law of evidence is an instrument, and there are several aspects how to govern this law. For example, I will give you, if any person want to make a statement, judges ask him to stand in the witness box. Why he is required to stand in the witness box? Because when he stand in the witness box, his comments, his statements are being recorded, and it possesses evidentiary value. Thereafter, the function performed by the law of evidence is laying down rules according to which the facts a case can be proved or disapproved before a court of law. You must have heard several times, due to lack of evidence, accused person is released. Due to lack of evidence. Thus, the means which can be used to prove a fact are all controlled by the rule and principle laid by the law of evidence. Judges are not acting as a person, but judges are acting as a personality, legal personality. And this is like a competition. You show us the evidence, you prove the fact, then we will decide the matter in your favor. If you are not able to do so, if there are no evidences, so benefit of doubts shall be given to the person who is called as a culprit. He shall not be called as a victim. The law of evidence lays down the law for facilitating the course of justice. Now, these three subjects are interlinked with each other: Indian Penal Code, the law of Indian evidence, and the Criminal Procedure Code, and accordingly, we are following the principle of fair justice. Now, number 6, the basis on which rule of evidence are formed are: no facts other than those having some connection with the matters in controversy should be looked into by the court, however interesting it may be. Now, this is not a matter of interest. This is a matter of responsibility. Now, yesterday there was a murder mystery in Pune, and I was in Ahmednagar. And if I appear in the court, and if I say, I want to say something regarding this murder mystery, so this statement will not be accepted, because there is no any relevance. There is no any relevance. All facts having rational probative value. Now you can please highlight this word, rational probative value. Very important word. That is, which helps the court to come to a conclusion upon the existence or non-existence of the matter in controversy, are admissible in evidence unless excluded by some rule of a paramount importance. Now you will have to keep in your mind this word, rational probative value. Rational means proportionate. Probative means there is a probability. There is a presumption of probability. There is a possibility. Okay. It is one of the basic principles of law that evidence is to be admitted in the court of law. It must be relevant, material, and competent. In short, it has to be corroborative. Once admitted as a relevant evidence, the judge is to be determined the appropriate weightage to be given to a particular piece of evidence. Now it is up to the judge. Now I am not sure, please pardon me. There is section 136 or 138. The discretion is given to the judge whether to admit any evidence or not. A given evidence is considered material is offered to prove a fact that is in dispute of a case. It is a material. Lot of things are produced before the court. Weapons searched, documents searched. When there is a team working, like a forensic team is working, they are submitting a very minor evidences. There is a micro study. As now you can see, this is my presumption. Most of the time mobile recordings are being submitted before the court. Section 65B is admissible in the court. So all these things are being considered very carefully by the court. Now number 7, since the quality and the reliability and the substance of the evidence shapes the actual decision, it is important to consider the means used to obtain evidence presented before the court. Now it is deciding the quality and reliability. It decides, especially when there is a direct evidence, when there is a primary evidence, the work of the court become quite easier. As I told you, हाथ कंगनी को आरसी क्या और पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या, the judges can directly come on the conclusion that this person has given the direct confession in the court. He is admitting his guilt. Now there is no need to examine any other witnesses. So they can directly come on conclusion. But when there is a problem, when there is a circumstantial evidence. Okay. Now number 9. An accused to be tried before a competent, independent and impartial tribunal or a court. Friends, today I read a news. This is a news, that's why I can dare to share this news with you. You must have heard about Advocate Dr. Jayashree Patil. What she stated today. I don't want to have my hearing before the court because I find this court as a partial court. This court is not giving me an opportunity of being heard. This is my right. This is violation of my principles of natural justice. The prosecution must establish the guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Every accused should be provided opportunity to defend by the pleader. A significant legal maxim is justice must not only be done but must be seen to be done. Mind well, friends, there are instances in the history of our criminal law that few cases were criticized drastically. For example, a case of Indira Gandhi assassination case, which is known as a popularly K.R. Singh versus State of Delhi Administration, All India Reporter 1986. This case is called as a judicial murder case. This case is called as a black spot on the judiciary. Why? Because on a very minor evidence, an innocent person was hanged till to the death. And after hanging, they came to know that this person was innocent. This is justice. This is a law. So this shall not happen again. That's why judges will have to go through a very detailed scrutiny before coming on any particular conclusion. The act applies to both civil and criminal cases alike, and hence the rule of evidence to be considered are the same as well. Now it has more application in criminal laws compared to civil laws, but it doesn't mean that the evidence act is not applicable to the civil cases. It is. But most important or maximum application of the Indian Evidence Act is in the criminal cases. I hope you are getting. So I am coming on the conclusion. It is not just a fundamental principle governing the process of a proof. Rather, it has also multiple dimensional purpose governing the rule relating to the process of proof in the court of proceedings. While its moral dimension is a special asset in criminal trial as it endeavors in protecting an innocent and highlighting the guilt of the person to administer a complete justice. Are you getting? Now when there is a trial of a Kasab, Justice Tahalania in a Bombay High Court, as a person he must have known that this person is criminal. But unless and until his guilt is being proved by the prosecution, he couldn't have come on any conclusion. So I will repeat again, honorable judges are not working as a person, but they are working as a personality. They are working as a juristic personality. And they want to have not only relevant evidence, not only admissible evidence, but corroborative evidence as well. So, evidence is nothing but the thorough mathematics. Friends, this is not a theory subject like law of torts. This is not a story writing. This is quite technical subject. So you please try to take maximum care. There shall be proper codification, Most of the student insisted me, we want answer of this question because we are searching for the answer of this question. Explain in detail importance and significance. So I have tried my level best to narrate 10 points as an important points regarding importance and significance of law of evidence. I hope I hope it is good, though it is not a better or not best, but I hope it will be satisfactory. And friends, if you like my videos, please like, share and subscribe, because I have started this series, The Law of Indian Evidence, according to the changed syllabus of Savitribai Phule Pune University. My books will be available in the market in Pune, Ahmednagar, and I will try to propagate in all over Maharashtra. And I think not because these books are written by me, but my colleague Advocate Sachin Tarte has assisted me in writing these books. So I will appeal you to read this book, and I am sure this will be quite helpful to you. And if you have any doubts, any questions, please drop in comment box. Please ask me question that this is an important topic and you want to know about this topic. Of course, I am not knowledgeable person like legal expertise. This is the lecture for an academicians only, for the students only. Otherwise, senior advocates will make a fun of my lecture, as it is not an area of practice right now. So please pardon me if I have made any mistakes in conducting a lecture. Thank you so much. I will revert back you with another topic which will be called as application of Indian evidence law in a civil and a criminal proceeding. Stay hypnotized, stay bewitched. Thank you so much. Have a nice day ahead. Thank you.